And we're back. It's Friday. Friday! Friday, gonna get down on Friday. What was that bad song? That chick, 16 years ago? Something black? Friday, gotta get down on Friday. I gotta find that. Anyways, how are ya? We made it. Made it through another week. Got lots of stuff, but I can't remember what I've collected. I don't know what I'm going to be showing. I just can't remember anything other than what's on the screen. So first of all, it's Friday afternoon. Still on coffee. Swigging coffee for all my fellow hard-working Canadians out there. Hope you're all doing okay. So let's get into it. So you've all heard about the BS with the condos in British Columbia. Well, now the Liberals shut down the debate over the probe into the whole disaster. So Liberals shut down the debate over proposed probe into BC condo buyout plan. The Island Conservative MP Aaron Gunn moved a motion at today's emergency meeting, that they called an emergency meeting, calling for a series of meetings to determine who might have lobbied Ottawa for the plan. So, Carney announces that he's going to spend billions of our money to buy out these condos that aren't selling. And now he's passing the buck, saying it was David Eby, who, if you don't know, is the Premier of British Columbia, saying it's his idea. And David Eby is saying, "Oh no, it's Carney's idea." So, and now you know the Conservatives are trying to figure out, well, whose idea was this, and who lobbied for it. So Aaron Gunn, this is his post. If Liberals and NDP wanted to bail out billionaire condo developers using taxpayer money, yours and my money, they should have campaigned on that promise during the last election. This announcement raises serious ethical questions, all of which are only exacerbated by Liberal efforts to shut down the investigative work on the Ethics Committee. Where did this idea come from? Who lobbied the government for it? And which developers, big banks, and foreign investors stand to benefit from it? Despite this attempted Liberal cover-up, we won't stop fighting for answers on behalf of all Canadians. And Derek Cochran-Beggs, who's a Facebook friend of mine, I don't think we've ever actually met. But we were supposed to do a podcast together at one point, and it never happened. I'd love to have you on, and since we're on the same side politically, I'd love to talk about this stuff. He says, go figure, Brookfield bought 15 condos before the bailout. Well, he would know better than me. And somebody else says, what about the rumors that Brookfield bought half ownership prior to that announcement? Any truth to that? Well, I don't know. I haven't investigated that, so this just kind of popped up. Moving on, we got Ron. Today, what's he talking about? Lower fixed rates. Yeah, it's gone down a bit. That's good for everybody. That's good news, right? Let's hear what he's got to say.
Sweet Christ on a cracker! Finally, some fucking positive news. Yeah, I know. Everybody, when people come to see these videos, they say, I wonder what fucking bad thing he's going to talk about today. But finally, some good news. So, we got lower fixed mortgage rates. Yeah, they're come down. So why? Well, but they haven't come down a ton, but they're down. They're down. Every time fixed mortgage rates is down, it's got to be good news. You got a renewal. If you want to buy a house, I don't recommend it necessarily, but if you want to buy a house, you'd like better fixed rates, right? So they're coming down. So why? Well, even though who the fuck knows if the war in the Middle East is really over? Who the fuck will ever know? I mean, it is just a shambolic fuckery, okay? But one thing is for certain. The price of a barrel of oil is way down. That's just the truth. It's there. You can read it. It's there. So
for now,
the price of oil down, gas prices down, diesel prices down, still high. They're not cheap. Fertilizer maybe down. So that means sort of inflation risk comes off temporarily. And the Bank of Canada says, okay, we're not hiking. They've made that pretty fucking clear. They may not hike for the whole rest of the year. They may do nothing for the whole year. Just maybe a pause for the whole year. And with that, bond yields, Canada bond yields fall and fixed mortgage rates fall. So remember, like at the beginning of this year, they were pretty good. 369, 379, 354, 389, good. And then it went up. Everything was in the fours. When the war hit, everything was in the fours. 409, 419, 449, 459, all that. Now we're headed, stuff starts with a 3 again. Good fucking news. 3-year fixed, 5-year fixed, lots of stuff starting to start with a 3. Gradually, it's still coming down. But that's good fucking news. Good fucking news for your renewal. And here's the thing. It's really important. So, well, Ron, what about variable? If there's no hikes, what about variable? Okay, look. Yeah, variable is an option, but let's think about this. As I've said 100 fucking times, 200 fucking times. If you can get a fixed rate that starts with a 3, 389, 384, 379, 394, whatever the fuck it is. If you can get it, take it. It's safety, it's sleep at night, it's a good deal. And if you think, well, Ron, why don't I hold on? It'll go really low, 299. No, fuck, 299, not happening. Don't stop fucking thinking about silly shit like that, okay? Remember this important line from Wall Street. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Don't be greedy. Get a fixed rate with a 3 in front of it, take it.
Anyways, moving on. Thank you, Ron. Take a quick look at this, people. Canada, 35.8 million people. I think we're over that. And we have a carbon tax. USA, 321.8 million people, no carbon tax. Mexico, 121 million people, no carbon tax. Yeah, Canada's helping the world, and yeah, we're helping. Sorry, that was supposed to be off camera. Next, from J Gen Xer. So let's get this straight. Canada is in a recession. Youth unemployment is through the roof. Housing is unaffordable. Deficits are exploding. Living standards are falling. And Mark Carney just announced another $900 million for Ukraine. This brings Canada's total commitment to Ukraine since 2022 well over $25.5 billion, including more than $8.5 billion in military aid alone. That's billions in taxpayers' money sent overseas while Canadians can't afford to buy a home, feed their families, or find decent work. Ukraine is not in a recession. It's a war economy being propped up by Western companies that are themselves struggling. Meanwhile, here at home, record numbers of young Canadians can't find jobs. Construction is slowing. Small businesses are getting crushed. The middle class is getting squeezed harder every day or every month. Same thing. But sure, let's send another $900 million. This is where I lost my spot here because I had duplicates. This isn't compassion. This is misplaced priorities on a national scale. Canadians are tired of watching their country get poorer while billions keep flowing out the door to foreign conflicts. When does Canada come first? Good freaking question. Okay, so moving forward, we're moving backwards. This was something I wanted to post before I got the update that the ethics committee was shut down on the buyout for the condos. This is what was going on at the ethics committee, and it was really just a shit show. This is my MP, Jacob Mantle. This is what the video that he shared on his Facebook.
What also doesn't make sense, Mr. Chair, is this desperate letter that was sent by the Minister of Housing last night, I think at 10:30 or later p.m. last night, to the members of this committee, trying desperately, clearly, to give members of the Liberal Party the cover they need.
Sorry, Mr. Mano, the letter was actually received this morning.
This morning, okay,
Just so you're aware.
excellent. So the letter that was received even later to the committee members, which is clearly an attempt by the minister to give the Liberal members cover to avoid this study. But this letter provides no new information, provides no new explanations, and restates some of the unpersuasive arguments that the government has previously made. For example, the minister says that this committee should wait for more details before undertaking a study. Well, I would respond, first of all, that it was the minister and this government that announced this program. Should they not have the information and the details available before they announce a program? And number two, if the minister would like to provide more details, we are requesting him to come to this committee and provide them. Now, second, he says the intent of the program is to purchase at below, quote, market rates. Well, that's a little vague because we've heard both discussion of costs, purchasing at costs, and purchasing at market. And those are two very different things. So I'd like to know what the cost of those units was and what the market rate the government is proposing to pay for them. And if there's any delta between those two. Again, the minister could come and explain that. And he rehashes and trots out this analogy, which is unfortunately extremely inapt. That when you buy something on liquidation, you don't say to yourself, I'm supporting a bailout for the store. Now, that is an inapt analogy because we're not at liquidation. If we wanted to buy on liquidation, the government would let these go into distress or let the banks and the developers absorb those losses and then buy them at an even reduced price. In fact, what they're doing is preventing the liquidation sale at the cost and expense of the taxpayer and at the cost and the expense of the next generation of homebuyers. And lastly, the minister tries to address our concern and this committee's concern about who was lobbied for this program. And he says, quote, that neither himself nor the Prime Minister were, quote, directly lobbied. That's interesting language, directly lobbied. So were they indirectly lobbied? Were their staff, instead of them, directly lobbied? Maybe we'll see that in disclosures when those are in the future published. And maybe we won't, and that will raise further questions.
No, you won't. You won't get it because it's all been shut down now. More liberal bullshit. It just never stops. Just never stops. This is the Ethics Committee. And they shut down the Ethics Committee. How corrupt is that? Anyways, we're moving on to the next thing. Blake Richards' post. Canadians deserve to know where their tax dollars are going. The Liberal government has announced roughly $100 billion in new spending commitments, yet Canadians still haven't been told how these promises will be paid for or what they'll mean for our country's finances. Even the parliamentary budget officer has struggled to get answers, and experienced economists are raising concerns about the lack of transparency. This is what I brought up on my last episode. Canadians have every right to ask how much of this funding will actually go towards new equipment and capabilities for our armed forces, and how much will be spent on consultants, bureaucracy, and well-connected insiders. Before taking on billions in new commitments, the government must explain the costs and the impact on the deficit and debt and who will ultimately pay the bill. Well, we know who that is, all of us. Canadians shouldn't be asked to sign a blank check. I'll continue demanding transparency and accountability taxpayers deserve. Well, yeah. Even back in the spring update, it wasn't even a budget. They didn't explain anything. And the things that they did mention, the parliamentary budget officer, like I said in the last episode, or the one before it, I don't know, I did 2 the other day, said that they had a 99% chance of failing to meet their commitments. What a joke. I'm not lying. This is not me saying it. This is the person that oversees this shit. And we're moving on. I got another video from Ron. Yeah, this is from a few days ago. I remember it now, about the baby boomers aging out and what does it mean for the housing market. Well, let's give it a listen.
Boomer generation, we're aging out. Yeah, the oldest boomer just turned 80. Like, I'm kind of like the youngest boomer. I'm like 68, okay? But the ones that just born just after the World War II, they're turning 80, which means in the next 15 years, they ain't gonna be here. Okay, that's the biggest point. So, why am I talking about this? Because a friend of mine, Dan Foch, made the great quote over the weekend. Said, "Hey, the generation of people with the most houses, the most expensive houses, the most single-family houses, is going to be selling, because that's the inevitable outcome of being very old, it's going to be selling to generations of people who are the most indebted in history." So the most benefited with the wealth of homes, of houses, who are the generation that's done the best, has the most expensive houses, is going to have to be selling off to the people who have a ton of debt. Dan's right. It's just true. But it's going to be more gradual than we think. We're not going to wake up one morning and see the headline, "Oh, housing industry fucked, boomers dying." No, I'm not going to see that. It's a gradual process. Some boomers are actually already dead, okay? And 15 years to really have the bulk of them die off, it's a long time. But it's a big number. Demographics and population drive how countries operate. They always have, they always will, okay? And this is a big change. This is a bulge of people who's not been seen in Western Europe, in North America, Japan, not been seen in history. This bulge of people, boomers, dying off. And they own single-family homes. They own a ton of single-family homes. That's just the truth. And single-family homes are expensive as fuck in many parts of Canada. So what'll happen? Will prices plunge? Unlikely. I'll tell you why. Because we quit building single-family homes in Canada about, 9 years ago. Seriously, they just fell off a cliff in terms of building them. So as they become more scarce, even though the people who own them are starting to die off, the scarcity should mean that prices won't plummet, okay? Because we stopped building them. We really did. We quit building them. Just the prairies a little, but BC, Ontario, Quebec, very few built for quite a few years now. So what will that mean? Will prices plateau? They just stay flat? That's my guess, but we're going to be finding out in the next 15 years.
Interesting. Who's going to afford them, though? If we're the generation that has the most debt. And moving forward, in case you've been living under a rock, Alberta and Ontario have announced a plan. It's not set in stone yet, but they've announced a plan to build yet another pipeline from Alberta to Ontario. I'm kind of for this. I don't know if it'll actually happen. It's got to go through a lot of processes first. But, Alberta is going to build another pipeline to British Columbia. They're kind of handcuffed to the federal government on that one. But I don't know all the ins and outs of this deal. But let's read what Danielle Smith wrote. This is back July 6th, and we're what? We're the 10th, so I'm I should have done this a few days ago for sure. Eastern Canadian refineries should be powered by Western Canadian energy, not from overseas. No kidding. Thank you, Justin Trudeau and Stephen Guilbeault. Premier Doug Ford and I are advancing a new west-east pipeline called the Northern Shield Energy Corridor, connecting Alberta oil to Ontario refineries and eventually European markets. This nation-building project would initially move 500,000 to 800,000 barrels per day, create tens of thousands of jobs, strengthen our economy, and help Canada receive full value for our world-class resources. Alberta has the energy Canada that the world needs. Now it's time to build the infrastructure to deliver it. Let's see here. So it's going to be 3,300 kilometers of pipeline from Alberta to Ontario. So I guess that's got to go through Manitoba. Yeah, I guess it's going to. Fueling Ontario refineries with Alberta energy. Yeah. I'm not a genius, but I don't see what the problem is with this other than who's paying for it. I really hope there's a proponent, somebody that's investors for this. If it's going to be taxpayers' dollars, I don't know. I don't know. But I did watch a bit of the video, which I don't have to share. It's going to mean some serious money for the country. So how that funnels back over time, who knows? Like I said, I can't tell you much about it because I don't know anything about it. They have to do a lot of studies. They got to figure a lot of things out. But it'll go right down. It'll come right through down to southern Ontario. So they'll be able to refine it and ship it right out to St. Lawrence. So, and they'll be able to get it to our own eastern provinces, which is awesome, right? So let's take care of Canadians first, and then the world market. I only see this as a good thing. If any of you that are actually listening this far in, if you got something negative to say, I want to hear your opinions. Leave me a comment. While you're at it, like, subscribe, tell a friend. Time will tell. I see this as a positive. You know, again, as I've said multiple times, I got a love-hate relationship with Doug Ford because here he's doing something good. How he's going to F up next, I don't know. Because I haven't checked the news today, so I don't know what he's done wrong today. Probably 3 or 5 things. Who knows? Oh boy. And next, this is purely a visual, so if you're just listening to this, you're not going to get it, but this is a visual. The Canada we grew up in and Canada now. Yeah, things are rough, aren't they, folks? And finally, we're at the end of this episode, so Stanley, you're looking good today, sir. Yes. Are we ready? Sorry, I gotta cover you up, buddy. I can't do this all on this one screen. Alright. Glasses off. Time to get serious about my comedy. Alright. My balloon elephant was too big to fit in the backseat of my car, so I popped it in my trunk. Oh man, I gotta find the next joke. Okay, ready? Paddington Bear and Winnie the Pooh are going on a vacation. Of course, they only packed the bare essentials. That one hurt. Okay. Okay. Alright. Where is it? Okay, so that's it for this show. I might record a second one. I've got an idea for something. Yeah, I think if I might be able to squeeze it in. Anyways, stay tuned. Anyways, thank you as always. I appreciate anybody that clicks on this, watches any of it, spends time with me, learns anything. Please hit like. Somebody give me a like. If you click on this, give me a like as well. It might actually mean something. I might actually make a penny or something off of this one day. I'm trying very hard, you know. Anyways, hit like, subscribe, and tell a friend. So anyways, thanks again. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and God bless. Bye for now.